America, a nation built on immigration. But in 2025, the American dream is starting to feel like a nightmare for millions. New immigration rules threaten to tear families apart and reshape American society. These aren't just policy changes, they are life-altering decisions. The American dream is hanging by a thread. The face of immigration is changing, and not for the better. The Trump administration's new policies have taken a sledgehammer to the system. Gone are the days of seeking refuge on American shores. The welcome mat has been replaced with a minefield of bureaucratic hurdles. Voluntary departure incentives, they call them. It's a systematic dismantling of the very framework that once offered hope. The year 2026 isn't just a year, it's a deadline. A ticking time bomb that threatens to detonate the lives of millions. We're not just talking about numbers, we are talking about human beings. Fathers, mothers, children, all caught in the crosshairs of a broken system. This is a defining moment in American history. The future of our nation and the fate of millions hangs in the balance. The year 2025 marked a turning point in U.S. immigration policy. The Trump administration enacted measures to drastically reduce both legal and illegal immigration. One of the most significant changes is the drastic reduction in the number of refugees admitted. The administration has also made it more difficult for individuals to obtain other forms of legal residency. Stricter requirements for family-based visas and employment-based visas are in place. These changes are already impacting businesses, universities, and communities. The message is clear: America is closed for business. The illusion of choice: voluntary departure incentives. Immigrants are opting for what the Trump administration presents as a more palatable solution: voluntary departure. On the surface, the offer seems straightforward. Undocumented immigrants are presented with a choice: accept a small sum of money and a one-way ticket back, or face deportation. However, this narrative ignores the coercion that underpins the entire program. It's a cynical ploy designed to mask the administration's true goal: reducing the immigrant population. Temporary protections no more. A broken promise to the vulnerable. The Trump administration has shown little regard for humanitarian protection. Under the guise of national security, the administration has dismantled TPS. Countries like El Salvador, Haiti, and Honduras are no longer eligible. Many of these individuals have lived in the United States for decades. By rescinding TPS, the administration is upending lives and tarnishing America's reputation. Expedited removals: due process left behind. The Trump administration has increasingly relied on expedited removal. This process allows officials to deport individuals without a fair hearing. Under the expanded policy, even those with valid asylum claims can be swiftly deported. Legal experts argue that it undermines the fundamental right to due process. The consequences of these hasty deportations can be dire. A palpable sense of fear and uncertainty has settled over immigrant communities. The Trump administration's hardline policies have created a climate of anxiety. The psychological toll on immigrant families is immeasurable. Children live with the constant fear of seeing their parents taken away. Even those with legal status are apprehensive. This climate of fear has a chilling effect on civic participation. The Trump administration's immigration crackdown is an economic disaster in the making. Immigrants play a vital role in the United States economy. The agricultural sector, heavily reliant on immigrant labor, would be particularly hard hit. The construction industry would also face significant challenges. Immigrants, as consumers, contribute significantly to the economy. Removing millions of consumers would have a ripple effect across all sectors. Behind the statistics lies a heart-wrenching reality: the human cost of deportation. Every deportation represents a broken family and a shattered dream. For children, particularly those born in the United States, deportation can be traumatic. They are forced to leave behind the only home they've ever known. The emotional toll is immense, with long-lasting consequences. Communities are torn apart, leaving behind a sense of loss and fear. Beyond the statistics, the erosion of trust and social cohesion, the Trump administration's policies have sown seeds of division and mistrust. Immigrants are often painted as criminals, fueling prejudice and discrimination. This climate of fear makes it challenging to build bridges of understanding. Immigrant communities feel increasingly isolated and alienated. The erosion of trust extends beyond immigrant communities, undermining faith in democratic institutions. A nation on trial, the constitutionality of mass deportation. The Trump administration's aggressive policies have raised profound constitutional questions. The Fifth Amendment guarantees due process, yet expedited removals contradict this right. The 14th Amendment guarantees equal protection. But the administration's policies target individuals based on national origin. Legal challenges to these policies strike at the heart of America's commitment to the rule of law. As these cases wind through the courts, the nation's commitment to its founding principles hangs in the balance. Section 2. Trading human rights for political points, a dangerous game. America, once a beacon of hope for those fleeing persecution and violence, has abdicated its role as a global leader in human rights under the Trump administration. The administration's retreat from international agreements, its demonization of refugees, and its systematic dismantling of asylum protections have tarnished America's reputation and undermined global efforts to address one of the most pressing humanitarian crises of our time. The Trump administration's decision to withdraw from the United Nations Human Rights Council, a body tasked with promoting and protecting human rights worldwide, sent a chilling message to the international community. America is no longer interested in upholding the very values it once championed. This retreat from multilateralism has weakened global efforts to address human rights abuses and emboldened authoritarian regimes. The administration's decision to slash refugee admissions to historic lows, coupled with its efforts to restrict asylum eligibility, has effectively closed America's doors to those seeking safety and refuge. This abdication of responsibility has left vulnerable populations stranded in dangerous conditions, violating international law and undermining America's moral standing. The Trump administration's assault on human rights is not just a domestic issue, it has global implications. By turning its back on those fleeing persecution, America is betraying its values and undermining its credibility as a champion of freedom and human dignity. Section 3. The world is watching, America's tarnished reputation. The Trump administration's hardline immigration policies have sparked outrage and condemnation, damaging America's reputation abroad. Once a symbol of freedom, the U.S. is now seen as embracing xenophobia and isolationism. The administration's rhetoric has alienated allies and emboldened adversaries. Traditional partners now question America's commitment to human rights and the rule of law. Withdrawal from international agreements has eroded trust and made collaboration challenging. The damage to America's soft power is undeniable. The U.S. has long relied on its cultural influence to advance its interests abroad. The Trump administration's actions have undermined these sources of influence. The consequences of America's tarnished reputation are far-reaching. They weaken America's standing in the world and diminish its ability to promote its interests. Repairing this damage will require a concerted effort to restore America's commitment to its founding principles. Section 4. Beyond the Law, a moral reckoning for a nation. The Trump administration's assault on immigrants has ignited a moral crisis in America, forcing the nation to confront fundamental questions about its values, its identity, and its commitment to justice and compassion. Beyond the legal challenges and the policy debates lies a deeper moral imperative, to treat all human beings with dignity and respect, regardless of their immigration status. The dehumanizing rhetoric employed by the administration and its allies has created an environment where prejudice and discrimination flourish. Immigrants, particularly those from Latin America and Muslim-majority countries, are often portrayed as criminals, a threat to national security, and a drain on resources. This dangerous rhetoric fuels fear, suspicion, and hostility, eroding the social fabric of American society. A nation founded on the principles of liberty and justice for all cannot stand idly by while its government enacts policies that violate the fundamental rights and dignity of human beings. It is incumbent upon all Americans, regardless of their political affiliation, to raise their voices in opposition to injustice, and to demand a more humane and compassionate approach to immigration. The moral imperative to welcome the stranger, to offer refuge to those fleeing persecution, and to treat all human beings with dignity and respect transcends political ideology. It is a call to action rooted in the very essence of what it means to be American. A nation on the brink, the looming crisis in 2026. The year 2026 arrives with a slow, creeping realization of a nation on the brink. The Trump administration's immigration policies have left a trail of broken families and shattered dreams. The exodus has begun. Driven by fear and desperation, millions of immigrants leave the only home they've ever known. Neighborhoods once vibrant now bear the scars of mass departure. The social fabric of America is stretched to its breaking point. The mass deportation has created a deep societal wound. The American dream now feels like a cruel illusion. The year 2026 marks a turning point for America. The choices made will determine whether the nation can heal or continue down a path of division. Ghost towns and empty fields, the economic fallout. The year 2026. The consequences of the Trump administration's immigration policies are no longer theoretical. They're hitting America where it hurts, right in the wallet. The once booming economy is sputtering, crippled by labor shortages, supply chain disruptions, and a dramatic drop in consumer spending. Remember those warnings from economists about the devastating impact of mass deportation? They're not warnings anymore, they're the daily news. The agricultural sector, once the backbone of the nation's food supply, is in crisis. Fields lie fallow, crops rot unharvested, and grocery store shelves are sparsely stocked as the workforce that once kept America fed has been decimated. The construction industry, already grappling with rising costs and project delays, has ground to a standstill. Skilled tradespeople, once drawn to America's promise of opportunity, are nowhere to be found, leaving half-finished buildings and infrastructure projects as monuments to short-sighted policies. But it's not just these industries feeling the pain. The ripple effects of mass deportation are being felt across the entire economy. Restaurants struggle to find dishwashers and line cooks, hotels face a shortage of housekeeping staff, and tech companies struggle to fill high-skilled positions. The engine of American innovation is sputtering, starved of the talent and ingenuity that immigrants have long provided. A world without America, the decline of U.S. leadership. The year 2026. The world watches in a mix of disbelief and dismay as the United States, once a beacon of hope and a guarantor of global stability, retreats further into isolationism and nativism. The Trump administration's immigration policies, coupled with its withdrawal from international agreements and its disregard for human rights, have eroded America's moral authority and diminished its standing on the world stage. Allies once accustomed to American leadership are now looking elsewhere for guidance and support. The vacuum left by America's retreat has been filled by opportunistic actors, emboldened by the perception of American weakness, and eager to reshape the global order to suit their own interests. The economic consequences of America's inward turn are also being felt globally. The once mighty U.S. dollar has lost its luster, replaced by more stable currencies as investors lose confidence in America's economic future. Trade wars, ignited by protectionist policies, have disrupted global supply chains and fueled economic uncertainty. The America of 2026 is a nation at a crossroads. The choices made in the wake of this self-inflicted crisis will determine whether the nation can reclaim its role as a global leader, repair its alliances, and restore its reputation, or whether it will continue its descent into isolationism, irrelevance, and decline. A crossroads for America. The year is 2026. The future, once a distant point on the horizon, has arrived. The consequences of our choices, both as individuals and as a nation, are all around us. The Trump administration's immigration policies, a stark departure from America's history as a nation of immigrants, have left an indelible mark on the social, economic, and moral fabric of the country. Millions of lives have been upended, families torn apart, and communities shattered. The American dream, once a beacon of hope for generations of immigrants, has become a distant memory for many, replaced by the harsh realities of a nation grappling with the consequences of its actions. but amidst the uncertainty and turmoil, a glimmer of hope remains. The year 2026 also marks a crossroads for America. Will we continue down a path of division, exclusion, and decline? Or will we choose to reclaim our values, heal our divisions, and rebuild a nation that lives up to its founding ideals of liberty and justice for all? The time for complacency is over. The future of our nation, indeed the future of our collective humanity, hinges on the choices we make today. Let us choose wisely, let us choose hope, let us choose America,